gentlemen, welcome to What You Say Anime. I am your host, Peter. On today's episode, myself, Cosette, and Miles will be reviewing the brand new Rose of Versailles movie. How's everybody doing tonight?
Oh, Pete, we're doing okay. It's been a long day, but there's nothing I love more than after a long, grueling day to come home, ignore my wife and child,
Yep.
and come talk to you about anime. That's so I'm excited.
Yeah, where were you last week, bro?
So I was I was with my wife in the hospital because I
Yo, I was kidding. Yo.
yeah. See, actually, that was a joke, and I do put my family before the podcast, unfortunately. But it sounded from the vibe of last week's podcast that I was sorely needed to be a voice of reason.
Nope.
But alas, we can't all have winning takes.
I'm just gonna say, normally I like your company. Last week I would have not liked you, so. Cosette, how you doing tonight?
I am recovering from the flu, so if I leave for a second, you know why. Overall, I'm I'm excited to talk about anime, but also because it's a movie, because I'm the movie girl.
You are the movie girl.
I'm the movie girl. I'm excited we have another anime movie to review, because we skipped Colors Within, so at least we're doing this one.
Calling me out like that. All right, I get it. By the way, we both like Colors Within. So on today's episode, we're doing the brand new Rose of Versailles movie, an epic tale that I've known about forever, but I've never consumed any information about this story in general. I know who Lady Oscar is through Kageki Shoujo, but outside of that, I have no real knowledge about this story. This is my first introduction. So I want to get your guys's... Well, I need to know, coming into this, how much did you know of Rose of Versailles? Because I kind of want to see if it makes a difference at the end of it, if it changed how we view this movie.
There was a whole Science Sorrow movie I missed. Anyways, coming into this, I thought I knew more or less nothing about the Ruse of Versailles. I thought that it was like a fiction, and it's like historical fiction, but I thought it was like a lot more fictional than it is. And so once I realized that Marie Antoinette was a character, and it was just going to sort of follow the beginnings of the French Revolution into like the middle of the French Revolution, French Revolution 1, I guess. I was like, oh, okay, well, I know where this is going because I know how that all went, more or less. So,
so you knew more than me. Okay.
Yeah, I've watched Les Mis, so that's something. And it, but like I do know some of it. It's like a pretty interesting subject and everything. So I don't know. That was a good anchoring point for me, and I think, as we'll probably discuss, anchoring points would be good if you want to watch this film. So,
how about you, Cosette?
I knew about it, but I've never read it or watched it. But when I saw that Marie Antoinette was one of the characters, I was like, okay, so how accurate is this going to be? Is it historical? Is it just using Marie Antoinette as a character and it's nothing like the actual French Revolution? So I was quite surprised. I did assume it was a Yuri for some reason.
I think a lot of people are mad that it's not.
Yeah, but honestly, no, I'm not mad about it because I don't like Marie Antoinette. So, yeah, I knew nothing about it. I just knew the cover art, and that was it. I knew how badass Oscar was, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah, and I'm coming to this like 100% completely blind. I just knew that Oscar was a badass character, and so when I was coming into this, I was hoping to get a little bit more context in terms of what the story was. But I feel like this movie specifically is for people who have already consumed either the original anime or the manga. Because I feel like some of the things that I was looking for in this movie weren't fleshed out as much, and it's kind of where I wanted to start with this, where, to me, there's sort of two sides to the story. There's like the actual French Revolution, and then there's sort of like the interpersonal relationships between everybody that goes on throughout the story. And so we have a couple time skips of Marie going from early teens to, I don't know, what was it, like early or mid-20s, I would guess, maybe? She had 3 kids, so I'm trying to piece together how much time has passed.
Let me tell you.
Okay,
I'll look
thank
it up
you.
while we talk.
Okay.
She died pretty young, I'm pretty sure. So
She died at the age of almost 40, 38.
Oh, okay.
Or so. Maybe not. 37. Because or I guess her birthday didn't roll around before they. So.
She died?
What? No way.
There was technically a scene in the movie about it. It was
True.
in the credits.
So I guess I kind of wanted to start here starting with like the interpersonal part of this story. Were there parts that you guys found that you gravitated more towards the others, or something that was lacking? Because to me personally, I felt like a lot of the relationships were lacking, but I want to get your guys' thoughts before I chime in.
Yeah, so I think like the actual relationships were definitely lacking. I've had to like look up stuff to like fill in gaps that I'll know here, because I was interested in the original work, and I actually think I'm definitely going to watch that. I think the movie did a good job of like profiling a couple of specific individual characters, um, but didn't do a good job. Not that it really could have at the time it was allotted in the period of time that it covers, of fleshing out the connectivity between these characters that I thought were relatively fleshed out. Major characters, like Oscar, I think I have a very good sense of who Oscar is. As a person. Marie Antoinette, I think I do, partly because I know who Marie Antoinette was, and it seems to be taking a relatively, accepted historical take on her. And then also, the movie focuses on her a pretty good amount. And then like tertiarily, like Andre, I think I have like a relatively good idea of who he is, though. What the fibers between those characters is lacking, in my opinion. So you just sort of have like these isolated, um, fleshed out characters, and that's never good, right? Now, I assume a viewer of this is supposed to know what's going on. But I don't know. Cosette, what are our thoughts here?
Yeah, unfortunately, because it's a longer story, and trying to condense it into a short movie is hard to kind of establish all those relationships. I think like the one that we saw probably the most detail on is Oscar and Andre for a bit. Although like I didn't really care about their relationship. Like they are
Same.
friends to lovers, which is one of the tropes that I like. So we did get to see a bit more of their like relationship, I guess. But like that connection was kind of nice. That relationship, you can see like they grew up together. They were basically working together. They lived in the same house. So like that relationship, was probably the most prevalent. The connection between Marie and Oscar was kind of odd. Like I thought they were going to be like best friends, but they didn't really appear like they were. Like as Miles said, like there's a lot of like individual characteristics shown, but in terms of like connections, like even like with her and her father, Oscar and her father, was very minimal of what we saw. And so oops, sorry, Marnie's trying to get in the garbage. But yeah, I even with Marie and that other guy, I forgot his name. Their relationship was like, it was like lovey-dovey, but like I felt nothing from it.
Yeah.
Like sure, it was nice. They're having an affair. They like confessed to each other. Like I guess from a romance side, like that was probably the most romantic scenes versus like Andre and Oscar, because he tried to kill her. So, but there's stuff there. I just feel like if this was expanded into a show, which obviously there is one, it probably would have been better fleshed out. So
I think I'm in the same boat as you. Where this is where I kind of came to the realization that I think that having prior knowledge to this movie might actually like be needed, because I think what the show lacked more than anything was impact to these relationships, because I think as avid anime watchers like ourselves, we can figure out how tropes of characters are, how the relationships usually tie up. But in a movie like this, or a story like this, where stuff that results in like death, I feel like need to have a better. I think, Cosette, you said like the fiber of the relationship needs to be way stronger for me to feel what I'm looking for. Whether it's like the relationship stuff between Marie and Hans, I think that was a little lovey-dovey, but like the impact for their relationship wasn't there. Oscar and Andre to me felt very forced, even though I think that I don't know. It's like the thing with Oscar was like, to me, it felt like she never really wanted to be in a relationship or be married or anything like that. And then I feel like a switch got turned on and she's like, Andre sees me for who I am. I love him. Please be my husband. It's like, where did that come from? Like, I feel like in this movie, when you have I always say two main characters because I feel like Marie is sort of like the main character in like the first half, and then Oscar is more prevalent in the second half. If you just had like the focal point of like just Oscar, and then you sort of saw the stuff that happened to Marie on the side, I think it could have been better, and then focus on fleshing out a few characters and their relationships more, and then sort of because like I don't know, like I feel like they split time between the entire cast when they should have just been focusing on like either focus on like Marie and see what Oscar does on the side, or focus on Oscar and see what Marie does on the side. That way we can have a better understanding with like Oscar and Andre. I think at one point she was like even questioning Hans because I'm assuming he's supposed to be like this absolute hunk, but I didn't get that vibe, but it seemed like everybody was fawning over him. And like maybe her flesh out her feelings on like what she's thinking about, at least with Hans, would have been something that I would have appreciated more with this movie. But like I think that's something that you probably get from reading the manga or watching the original anime, and you have better context into these people's relationships. And to me, it fell flat. It fell really flat. I don't know, like outside of Oscar, my favorite character was Louis the 14th or 16th or 14th or whatever it was. I know, right?
16th.
16th. And like
Grandma?
Grandma's cool, but she's in the show for like she's in the movie for like a minute or something like that. But like,
yeah, 1 minute less than Louis the 16th.
Yeah, but Louis had one scene that I like really liked, and I was just like, that's better than any of the other characters' scenes that I felt like could have made a bigger impact, because Louis the 16th was on screen for not that long, and I felt like the brief amount of time that we had with him, I understood who he was as a character. I understood like where his like mindset was, and I didn't really get that with anybody outside of maybe Oscar. I rambled. Go for it.
I think Andre would have been my second. Like, I feel like I would have liked a Lady Oscar Andre movie, and then like Marie is just scurrying in the background. But there actually is a later Lady Oscar live action movie, and I don't know how prevalent Marie Antoinette is, but like I feel like if this movie had less Marie Antoinette and then expanded more on Lady Oscar, I probably would have loved it more, even with the music. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like me some Andre too. Like I do agree that like how we got from A to like L or whatever between them, we were missing some letters in there. But like that scene where he's following her when they're like going to bring the French guard to like support the citizens or whatever, and he's like blind but like she's still like shining in front of him. Like I thought that was a really cool scene. And sort of like sums up his like motivations and stuff well. Like there was a lot of good cinematography and stuff that helped fill in those gaps, not like all the way or most of the way or even kind of half the way or anything, but some of the way. Which I liked. Like I don't know. I had a good time watching this because I paused and looked up stuff. While things were happening to get more context, which it is not a good sign for the movie, though it did help my enjoyment of it. So,
yeah, I think just one step, like with Oscar deciding to like profess her love for Andre and like say like when they obviously get together, I think it's because she knows that she's gonna get into battle. She might die, so maybe she's in that headspace where she's like, we may not be together for that long. We might as well just do it. She just wanted to experience that before she dies, because I feel like she knew that France was there's gonna be some hard shit going on. So that's what I thought. So it didn't surprise me that they got together. It did feel rushed, but I think like in her mindset, I can see why she did what she did.
Yeah, she was about to go commit treason, right? Like she was just like I'm going to commit treason tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably die.
Yeah.
It's a smart move on her end.
Smart move. I think part of it, and it's another thing I want to talk about with the relationships, that just ties into like the actual pacing of this movie, of when you're trying to cram in something that was done in 40 episodes into the equivalent of 6 episodes where we got this goes back to like my impact, but like when you have weird pacing like this and you're trying to establish a cast, I feel like it falls off the rails a little bit. There's one in particular where we saw Oscar step in when a boy was about to get like murked by some like royalty, and then the citizens come in and start hitting Andre in the face with like a wooden pole or whatever, and then this newspaper guy comes in, he's like, he stops the whole thing and he's like, we are not royalty, we have to be better than who they were. And then like I kind of feel like he fell off like the face of the map when that scene was like very impactful to like how the citizens are being viewed at like how the royalty are viewing like the citizens and how the citizens are viewing like the French government. Was there anything in particular that you guys saw in the movie where like you felt like maybe you fast forwarded something and you missed something or skipped it, or where like the pacing just felt off? Because to me, that was the biggest detriment to this movie. Put you on the spot.
I don't think I felt that way as far as like literal events that were happening. Like everything, again, to me, it's just sort of like I feel like I missed conversations between people more so than anything super like event wise happening. Because I don't know. To me, it just sort of like follows a structure that I am like vaguely aware of like how this like revolution takes place, right?
Sure.
So, I have historical events that happen that I can be like, okay, so we've gone from here to here, and then vaguely like, okay, like they're sieging Bastille currently, right? Like at the end of the movie, like
Yep.
that's a thing that happened, and I when that happened and all that. There were like 7 people in that prison or something, by the way. It was really weird choice to siege that, but they did. It's more symbolic, I guess. But I guess I'm not surprised that you would feel that way, because I felt that way as far as interactions. Like, in one scene, Hans is going to America to help the colonists against the British, and then like 10 minutes later, he's back. And
it was a quick trip.
And like so, yeah. So like the entire Revolutionary War, which was like several years, happens in like 10 minutes, and like they don't, there's no like 3 years later or anything. So you just sort of have to accept that, which I do think is like a lot. Like it is a breakneck speed thing, right? So like Marie Antoinette shows up when she's 14. That's the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
And she dies when she's about 38. She's like a month away from that. So it's what, 24 years or something? In 2 hours?
Yep.
That's a long time. And a lot of things happen in there that were not touched upon. So
I mean, when you think about like Les Mis, that movie was what, 2.5 hours? So about the same as this. And we went through a couple years of, I don't know how many years, but Cosette went from a child also to an adult. So I feel like that did a really good job of like going through time. But like in terms of like this movie and like jumps that I thought were stark, I'm not sure, because I know the French Revolution, so I kind of knew what was happening. I feel like it was a bit odd when like Hans visited the castle, because they were like, oh, he's here. Then all of a sudden they're like riding horses together. I thought that was kind of odd.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, oh, they're just riding horses. And then when she got hurt and they were blaming Andre, I felt like that whole scene just went so fast, because I just didn't understand like, why were they blaming Andre? But then after that happened, then they slowly like established the fact that like they become friends. So like that small little part got confusing, but then it just made up for itself after that. Like you put the pieces together. But yeah, in terms of like rush, like you can tell the whole thing was rushed,
Yes.
But like I was able to like put stuff together because like I know the revolution, I know what's gonna happen. So I had a feeling what was gonna happen to Lady Oscar, to be quite honest. So yeah, that's the only one I can think of that just felt really stark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would agree with mostly what you guys said. One thing I mean, it's probably the biggest thing, at least coming into this, was they made this sort of a musical. Like there's a lot of music involved in this movie. And for me, at least, some parts of it were really good. Like there was like the song that they used throughout the movie, but they use like different choruses of that song.
Oh, the leitmotif there for that chord, it's so good.
Yeah, they use it like
stuck in my head.
three or four different times, but it's in like different parts of the song. I like how that flowed, but there were definitely some aspects to the music that I didn't like. Especially the last fight where Oscar dies. That music was like really weird and off compared to the rest of the movie. But I guess just in terms coming into this thinking it's like a historical drama romance and it's sort of having this musical shift. Did that put you off anyways, or did you enjoy it? Or I mean, I have to ask the question for the podcast, Miles. I know your answer.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
it's
so
called
like,
a setup, man. Come on.
Well, I thought, we were just talking about Les Mis, which is exactly what you just described about the like French Revolution to Electric Boogaloo. So it's just like this, but set, I don't know, like 40 years in the future or something. And I fucking love that. What was weird about this is that it was kind of a musical, but also there just seemed to be like very high quality AMVs in the middle of it.
Yep.
So like I guess like I don't know if this is like inherent. No, yeah, this is inherently, yeah, like if it's a musical, people are singing songs and stuff, and that happens in this, but like not all the time, because sometimes there's just music playing in the background during like a montage of Marie Antoinette going shopping or whatever, and like should they have used Material Girl by Madonna? Yes,
100%.
And they didn't, but that's okay. I still liked the scene.
She's from France too.
Is Madonna from France?
No, she's from Michigan.
I thought so. And so I thought that was like, at first I was like, oh, this isn't going to be a musical. It's just going to like have like scenes set to music. But then it was a musical, and that was sort of surprising. So when you start something on Netflix, it starts with the dub. The singing in the dub wasn't great. Because they translated things, I think maybe too literally. They were fitting a lot of syllables into very short time frames. Or like extending them a lot, like the word kokoro, which is heart, is used like a fuck ton. And in English, that is one syllable. So you got to make that work somehow. So I switched to the sub for about half the movie, but I had a hard time reading the subtitles because they weren't. Yeah, I don't know. They weren't outlined very well or something. And so I gave up and switched back to the English thing because it was like hurting my eyes. But yeah, I don't know. I liked the musical aspects a lot, both the like high quality AMVs to like vaguely avant-garde set pieces, and then also the musical parts. Like I actually loved that last one where Oscar got like I thought that was like
for like, I guess for me it was like the scene that was depicting this battle. I think it like, I don't know what I was expecting, but like I remember the song coming on like right before she yells like fire and like before she gets shot. Whereas like this music doesn't sound right for this. It could just be me being nitpicky, but like I thoroughly enjoyed the music throughout the entire movie except for that scene.
I was just like, fuck yeah, kill the fucking bourgeoisie scum. Like I it's just I was hyped. I was feeling it. They're all having a good time, enjoying camaraderie and like singing while they shoot shots at some royal guard. I don't know. That was good. Cosette, music thoughts.
Well, I think it was an interesting attempt because I feel like there's not a lot of anime musicals, but like I love musicals and I think the anime musicals I can think of at the top of my head are like Belle, Carol and Tuesday, Sing a Bit of Harmony was one as well. So like
we need more.
Yeah, we need more. Like those three movies are fantastic. So but it was music videos, and I think the problem is that they tried to be Les Miserables, which is like a wonderful movie. That's hard to even try to top that. but they were more like, I guess, Amelia Perez, 'cause that's the most recent musical I watched that had terrible music. And like the reason why I thought it was bad, because none of the songs were catchy. I don't remember any of the songs at all, except for that one scene with like all the citizens singing, because it reminded me of Les Mis. So I was like, oh, I like this one. This is pretty sick.
Do you hear the people say? Oh wait, wrong one. Sorry, that's.
Well, I like that one too.
Should we just talk about Les Mis instead?
Oh, look, if you want to have us,
yeah, right.
If you want to have us on for a Les Mis discussion, Pete, there's no way either of us say no.
Oh my god, Les Mis Watch Club, I'd be down.
Yeah. Isn't there there's a Les Mis anime, right?
Yeah, the Petite Cosette.
But it doesn't sing though.
Oh, that's lame.
I don't think they're singing it. Yeah. Anyway, so like I think the music part, I think it's a nice attempt, because I think with Rose of Versailles, there's so many different adaptations. We've got the anime, there's a compilation movie, there's stage plays, there's a live action. So like this being different out of the bunch, it's kind of nice, I think, for Rose of Versailles fans. So I'm like, MAPPA did a nice attempt to do something different instead of just reinventing the wheel. So in a way, like, do I think they shouldn't have done a musical? No, because it was a nice attempt. I just think they probably should have gotten better people to do the music. And I'm actually curious, because who's credited is Hiroki Sawano and the guy that did 86. And I'm curious if they're the ones that wrote the songs or if it was someone else. I think they probably were the ones that did it. So I think if they got an actual like songwriter to help with this, like, I don't know, someone on Broadway, that would be great. This would have been better. So but yeah, and like I'm curious what you guys thought about the OST, because speaking of Hiroki Sawano, like I have started to not like his music because it's all sounded the same, because it sounds like Attack on Titan, and it also sounds like 86, because he also worked with the guy that did 86. So a lot of the background music, it just didn't fit the vibe of Rose of Versailles for me. I don't know why, because I kept thinking of Attack on Titan in 86.
No, that's a really good point. So like the music, when it sounds like a chorus is singing in the movie, I guess that's probably Les Mis-esque. I'm just going to guess based off of your guys' reactions.
It's like dollar store Les Mis.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
but it's like I'm guessing in Les Mis, like a lot.
It's the same vibe.
But like their songs, it's like I bet there's like it's like either is it like solo or like 30 people? Is that what it's like in Les Mis?
There's some, so there's one that has like the whole town.
Okay. Maybe
one day more. Anyways,
which High School Musical does this compare to? Maybe that'll be a little
okay. Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. So this movie is like clearly worse than every High School Musical, right? Because Sharpay is greater than Marie Antoinette.
Oh, I think it was like Oscar for a second. I'll be like, yo, player.
Look, no, but Troy Bolton could dunk on Lady Oscar, and it's just unfortunate. Look, I'm sorry, but Zac Efron, 1, can sing, 2, can play basketball, and 3, can get it.
Facts. Facts. Troy Bolton forever, baby.
Does Lady Oscar ever stare into a pond and splash it in a golf course for no reason, really, and then sing bet on it? I don't think so.
Okay, perfect transition. So this might be a hot take, but High School Musical 2 is the worst High School Musical.
That's not a hot take, Pete. Everyone thinks that.
There's a lot of people that like it, but like I guess in terms of OST, it reminded me of High School Musical 2, where there's like 2 Omega bangers, and then the rest of it is kind of just like whatever. And
what are your High School Musical 2 Omega bangers?
The one where he's on the golf course.
Bet on it.
And I was being nice when I said 2. So I guess for me, in terms of the actual movie we're talking about, Rose of Versailles, that opening song that they used throughout the movie, Omega banger, loved it. Everything else I thought was just like there. And then I said before, I thought the music that they used in the fight scene at the end was not good. Funny you brought up 86 and the music there, because that's probably my favorite thing about 86. Like, but you are correct when it sort of does sound samey. It can kind of get into that where it's like, okay, am I watching Rose of Versailles or am I watching Attack on Titan? And I think that's kind of where the vibes for the soundtrack fell off a little bit for me. I thought overall I would say it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be positive on this. There's a lot of things like I remember, like, okay, I really liked the soundtrack during the Masquerade. Like, I thought that got the vibes done good. There's like the Marie Antoinette, like, fuck it, we ball, I'm gonna just like buy a bunch of shit and gamble montage.
I did like that
And
she was a gambler.
and that was a big thing. That was like legit. She did a lot of gambling with
Base.
the state's money. Um and that I thought was good. Like, I that was like, you are right that it's like High School Musical 2-esque almost in a way. Like, a lot of this stuff was like very like modern and stuff, right? Like, so they had, like, I don't know, the songs where they singing is like closer to like a period piece sounding thing where everyone's like singing and it's like got a choir and stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then
yeah.
the AMV parts were like very contemporary.
Yep.
Which was weird. It clashed a little bit, but I did like them for what they were.
Yeah, right. Like I don't think like necessarily the songs are bad, but like how they flowed didn't make sense. It's hard to describe because I feel like it's just like a vibe thing where it's just like you're expecting like a certain type of song to come on, and then if you heard like, I don't know, if like Poker Face came on, you'd be like this is a Lady Gaga banger.
Lose my fucking mind.
Yeah, but it's like don't get me wrong, this song slaps, but like, do you want like a John Wick shootout type of thing? It's just like,
yeah,
it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, me too.
I fucking do.
That was a terrible example, but like, there's like moments in the story where it's like I feel like I'm expecting something and I'm getting something else, and it's like maybe it's a me thing where I'm just thinking too much into it, but I don't know. Cosette's nodded a little bit too, so maybe she's feeling the same way I am feeling.
Well, I think the one benefit of the music videos is that, because the thing with musicals is that once they get into a song, they're expressing their emotions more louder. So I think like the little music videos kind of did that because we got to see a bit more about like how Marie is feeling. We saw a bit of like how Oscar is feeling. So, you know, there was some emotional bits that they tried to give us more character development, I guess. So I saw the benefits of the music videos. I think the lyrics were okay. Like, they kind of portrayed what each of the characters were saying. I'm curious if the song was written by the person who did the script or not, because the person who did the script did a lot of shoujo anime, like Nana and Kimi ni Todoke. So I'm curious who wrote the songs, because I think the written parts were fine. I think it's just the combination of songs and trying to make them catchy were at fault.
I thought the lyrics kind of sucked.
Yeah?
It felt okay. So there was this thing, I don't remember when it came out, but like, you know how like Mumford and Sons have released exactly one song?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
And I don't even know what song it is.
It's Little Lion Man.
That's what it's called.
So
is that the It's Not Your Fault But Mine? Is that song?
Yeah.
Okay. I know one.
So Mumford and Sons, at least through 3 albums, I don't know if this is still true, every single song had the word heart and eyes in it. Every song they did.
Yeah.
And so it just sort of reminded me of that, because like it was like very like on the nose theming and stuff. It's like, I'm gonna be my own person. I'm gonna follow my way. Yeah. And it was just like, you know, like like unironically, High School Musical, which isn't exactly subtle, has more subtle lyrics about like being yourself in there. It's, and we're gonna just keep comparing this to that. I don't know if they were bad, but I guess I was, again, I'm doing a lot of like comparing this to like Les Mis and stuff, and like
you should.
You know, that has like just start to end Omega bangers with like 10 different leitmotifs and like a whole bunch of different like meanings and stuff between everything that goes on, and it's just amazing. In this, I think part of it might have been the visuals too. Like, I like the end where they're all like scrambling around as the soldiers, but did you guys see what they were doing with the background people? I don't know if you guys caught this during like the last fight. You know, so they have like commoners and soldiers running around in the background, completely nonsensically, going nowhere, going in circles, going like doing nothing. just to make the background seem busy.
Chaotic.
And it distracted me the entire time. And so I think that, like, with the lyrics of, like, we're gonna try our best and be poor, or, like, whatever they were. Yeah.
I missed that. I have to go back and look at that.
Oh my god, it really stood out to me. And it's not a thing I normally notice, but, like, I don't know. Some of the stuff felt a little amateurish to me. So I guess between the three of us, we think that both the music sonically was a bit amateurish and the lyrics were a bit amateurish. So there you go.
Yeah. But the visuals.
Yes, except for those people in the background at the end.
Yeah, okay, because I actually want to talk about the visuals a little bit, if you don't mind. Because
let's.
Because, like, this is like a cinematic movie. Like, this was like shown in theaters in Japan. And usually when we have movies like that, I feel like there's at least moments of, like, pure Sakuga where it's just like, holy shit. And, like, I remember, like, the opening scene where you see, like, all the people and the horses in, like, the courtyard. And they're all, like, CG. I'm just like, I feel like this is, like, the opening moment where, like, you want to showcase, like, what this movie is. And then they do that. I'm just like, that was kind of lame. Like, Freerin did it in their opening scene where it's like they're coming in the courtyard and everybody's on horses, and that's a serialized TV show. Why can't Mappa do it in the movie? And I felt like it kind of missed the mark in some spots where I feel like it really could have showcased the animation. But, like, then there's some points where they're just, like, standing around and it looks insane. Like, how, like, Oscar's hair is flowing and stuff like that. I'm just like, this is nuts. But I feel like I might be in the minority. Did you guys have any thoughts on, like, the imagery and visuals of this movie?
I sort of agree with, and I didn't hear the entire assessment. I apologize, because I've been sliding through the movie to try to, like, find certain points.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to circle back around to the lyrics because I just accidentally got to.
Okay. Let's not forget we're talking about the visuals after.
No, we will. But just really quick, when she is, like, after the ball, when, like, Lady Oscar is like, "What do I want to do?" Like, the lyric, "I want to be myself. I want to be myself."
The very best.
That's literally a song from Bluey. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, there's an episode of Bluey where they go to the movies, and it's a movie about a monkey, and Bluey's scared because there's going to be lightning at the end of the movie, and the monkey's singing a song, and it's like, "I want to be my..." It's like the exact same thing. It's plagiarized from Bluey. Back to the animation. I super agree, Pete. There are times in this where it looks like it's animated by, like it's some poor thing that got an adaptation. Not to, like, it looks like it got, like, an adaptation of, like, some Yuri or something that always gets the short end of the studio stick, right?
It reminds me of, like, a straight to DVD movie or something like that.
Yeah,
where it's like,
but
technically it's a
It is
movie.
straight to streaming.
Well, in Japan it had, like, a full theatrical release. Yeah.
There are parts where Lady Oscar is, like, standing there and, like, her proportions are wrong. Like, her arms are too short and stuff. It's just very crudely done. And then there are parts that, as you had mentioned, just are insane. Just, like, it like, it goes into these, like, visual... It's basically just, like, a feast for your eyes. Everything goes insane. There's, like, flower petals flying everywhere, and the moon turns into people, and it's, like, crazy. And then it goes back, and you have, like, a Uma Musume CG horse showing up, and it's like, oh, okay. Which is another series that also goes between, like, F tier CG to, like, oh my god, Sakuga.
Yeah, like, top 3 Sakuga of the year or something.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Kosa, what did we think of the animation?
I mean, I think it's because when I was watching it, I was like, "Hey, what's the positives I can pull out of it?" And I think the visuals were the positives. So I didn't nitpick when I was watching, like, how things looked as much, because I was like, this looks pretty good compared to everything else. And, like, when you compare it to, like, the anime from, like, this, I don't know how old it was, 80s, 70s?
79.
70s. Obviously, it's a huge upgrade. So I feel like Rose of Versailles fans, when they look at this, they're like, "Oh, this is a huge gift." So I think visually, it looked nice. So like the eyes were sparkling.
Yes, they
It reminded
were.
me of they reminded me of like Oshinoko. Oscar looked amazing. Marie Antoinette was fine. I did love that like ball like that masquerade scene. Like the animation and that was really cool. Like all
Yeah.
the dresses and everything. The anime music video visuals were kind of cheesy.
I liked him.
I,
There's so many things
I-
like I like, you hate, because that's like whatever.
Yeah,
and then
we
just,
we both like the entire movie and hate the entire movie
Yep.
as the three of us.
Yep.
yeah. But besides that, like I think like it does look better than some seasonal anime we get. Like I think in comparison, this is still nice in terms of like Mappa's past work. They could have done a little better. I mean, and I looked at like the director and like what she's done, and there's not anything in her list that I've seen besides like Ano no Hana, but she only did like a few episodes, so like
Yep.
she's so I don't know. I mean, it's still visually better than the last Rose of Versailles, so yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me is more like the aesthetic. I loved like the color palettes that they use. Like you mentioned, like how the eyes were designed. Like that was great. Like to me, like there's sometimes where like when I think of like shoujo, it has a very specific aesthetic, and this matched it. Like I loved like what I was like how it was portrayed. I guess I would put it, but I didn't like how it was like executed, because you mentioned scenes like the masquerade, awesome. Random scenes of them just like chilling, great. And then we have scenes where it's like the final battle between Oscar and like the other army or whatever. And to me, that was like very lackluster. That like sometimes those are the moments where like I would like to see a step up in Sakuga in some way. But like even when like Oscar took the bullet, it was he like gets hit and they do that thing where like it freezes and then like slowly the blood like flies out of Oscar, or not Oscar, sorry, freaking Andre. And it's just like, man, this is like a moment where I feel like you could really showcase like a power packed action scene, because there's really not that many in the story. Like there's the one where Oscar duels was like Alan or something like that, and that was great. Like I thought that was animated fantastic. But then just like some of the scenes were just like, man, like this is where you need to put the budget, and they didn't. Miles, your thought?
Yeah, I mean, I'm been skipping through this, and like I don't, they needed to put the budget everywhere. I have to say, like it just needed to be more everywhere, because I don't want the scenes where they're just standing there to like I loved that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like looking at this thing where like Oscar is like at something, and then like everything fades away and there are stars everywhere, and that's fucking great, that's wonderful, but like flesh out everything else as well. Also, I want to give a shout out to whatever his name was, revolutionary number 1 guy, from the French Guard or whatever. I liked him. I thought he was good. He was like, you can't be in charge, you're a woman and you're a noble, and then like he gets his ass beat and he's like, you could be in charge. Fair enough.
Yep.
And you just got to appreciate someone who can take the L. It's just
Admitting you're wrong sometimes is very necessary.
yeah. It's hard to.
Let's talk about Oscar.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, Oscar is amazing, and I think we should, because like I want to go kill royals afterwards. Like
A bit aggressive, but I get it.
I am only doing what she would want. She is an amazing character. I get
so good.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like completely lives up to the hype.
I would
Even
say
in this like
surpasses it. Even in
short,
this
yeah,
movie.
yes, which is like the truncated version of it. I was like, oh my god, what an amazing character. Just like complex, but she like explores her own self in like an interesting way. She wants to be herself, as the lyrics of the song say, and she figures out what that is and who that is. I also liked her relationship, though we didn't get a ton of it, with her father, um, where he's basically like, "Hey, I raised you to be like a responsible person, to have your own convictions and stuff. Like, even if you're like, you do what you got to do. It sucks that you're probably gonna die, but if that's like what you think you have to do, you go do it. I'm not gonna stop you." I thought that was a pretty cool dynamic. And I just like seeing her evolution over time of like learning to empathize with the commoners and doing what is right and taking bolder and bolder steps and never compromising as stuff got worse. I thought it was great. She's an amazing character.
Yeah, I mean, I love a badass female character, so she's definitely like one of my top favorites right now. I think she's probably the reason why I want to delve more into Rose of Versailles, either like read the manga or try to watch the original anime. Um, and the whole reason why I watched sub is because her voice actor was Kurapika, and like I love Kurapika from Hunter x Hunter, so I watched the sub for this, and I think she sang really well too. But yeah, Oscar was the best part of the movie. She's the reason why I was able to get to the end, to be quite honest. I wanted less Marie Antoinette. I just wanted more Oscar. I think like I would have loved more scenes with her in her development. Like we saw that small scene of her like saying that she grew up like being treated like a man, and so now she was struggling with her identity, and I would have loved to see a bit more about that. Even just seeing scenes with her like just like connecting more with the citizens, connecting with France, because like it was a bit rushed because she was like, oh yeah, I lived here my whole life, I love France, but like we didn't really see that like development because she was always at like the court, right? So but I think like she's the reason why I would like actually want to still continue watching Rose of Versailles somewhere or read it. Because like unfortunately this is my first introduction to Rose of Versailles, and it's not the best introduction, but it's an introduction that's enough for me to like even just explore and see more about it. But yeah, I love Oscar. I don't really care about her and Andre though, but good for her for sealing the deal before she died. So
I think that will play over better in like more drawn out source material.
Probably.
Because I've like read about their relationship and like the reasonings behind it and everything, and it seems pretty good from the Wikipedia in one article I read. So who knows?
I'm gonna make a very weird comparison, and I don't think either of you have seen this show, but someone out there that's listening may have. It reminded me of the show Data Live, if you are familiar with that show.
Man, I haven't seen Data Live.
Yeah, don't worry, you don't need to.
Yeah.
So Data Live is a very generic sci-fi harem, and it's not good.
Much like Rose of Versailles, it's sci-fi harem.
Yes, but there is one character, Karubi, in that show who is so badass. Where like I watched 3 seasons of that show because of her. That's what Oscar is to me in this movie. Where it's just like she hard carries the entire cast. And I think this is the detriment of the movie and not the actual source material, because I guarantee if I read the manga or watched the show, there would be another character that I would like really enjoy. But for this movie, it was Oscar and nobody else. Like my second favorite character is Louis the 16th, and he's in 45 seconds of the movie. Like that's how little I cared about the cast or how much I enjoyed it. It was literally Oscar and nobody else. And so I think that's like a good thing and a bad thing, where you have somebody with limited screen time making the absolute most of it and just crushing what they're trying to portray as a character. And then sort of seeing everybody else in this movie be small, like very, like not even close to the same level as Oscar. So it's one of those things where it's like, you have something that's so great, I wish you could showcase it to other characters, but I'm glad that they did it for the one character that I actually love in the story. So it's a double-edged sword where I had some enjoyment.
That sort of seems like a chicken or an egg thing, you know?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, like, do I not like these characters because they only spend time fleshing out Oscar? I think that if they flesh out everyone, Oscar would still be my favorite, though. Is like my thought. I think you're right that they picked right, though. I guess it's just a little hard to determine.
But like Andre, I feel like he is a character based off like the characteristics that we saw in the movie that I would like. Like I would gravitate towards a character like Andre, but how the movie portrayed him, I don't think it did it justice. I'm just going to assume that like he is a good character, so I'm just going to say that I don't think the movie did a great job at like building him as a romantic interest, a character that I was intrigued with or thought he was interesting. I just thought he was kind of played the childhood friend role in a little bit different way, but he was still that character and wasn't super high. He'd probably be my third favorite, but that's like out of default. Like Marie was whatever. Hans was just like the pretty boy. I think Oscar's dad, like you said, could be a very interesting character if we had some more context. But like,
I like the one scene with him.
Yeah,
like, it was, yeah,
because we had like a scene where they talked about like who he was as a person, and then we actually had one scene with him. So very limited, and I mean it's kind of like the detriment to this movie, where it's just like, man, I really didn't vibe with this because of sort of the direction that they went with the movie. Any other thoughts that you guys wanted to get off your chest that we forgot?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you each have one, so someone go first.
You go first because I was just gonna vamp.
Oh, okay.
I was.
I think like after I ended the movie, I'm glad like we took some time to like stew on it because I was like I immediately didn't like it, and
Yeah,
then I was
same.
like, oh, I'll find some positives, but I started making me think about another shoujo that got a really bad adaptation. That was Requiem of a Rose King, because that story is really, really
Yeah.
good. And it unfortunately had a really bad adaptation. It just reminded me of that, because the main character of that is just as awesome as Oscar. And unfortunately it had such a bad anime. So like it remind me of that. And I was like, oh, another bad shoujo adaptation. Come on! So I don't know.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, but I mean, kudos to Mappa. I feel like they haven't done a shoujo since like probably Banana Fish. That's at least at the top of my head, because I can't think of any other shoujo they've done in the last decade. I feel like it's Banana Fish.
Is Jujutsu Kaisen a shoujo?
I mean, if it was just Gojo and what's his name, yeah, maybe.
Wow, yeah, I'm looking at their list and not a whole lot.
Because Dirty on Ice was before Banana Fish, I'm pretty sure.
But it's also just a anime original.
Yeah.
That was made to make people go to the saga.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like, like if it was a manga, it would probably be a shoujo, but like
yeah. But yeah,
it's also technically just an advertisement. Very good one. What's Dance Dance Dansor? Is that a
sign in?
Okay.
Yeah. So like kudos for Mappa for picking up a shoujo for once. But yeah, I'll just shout out to them, and they should continue.
I think that's their only one, because I think Banana Fish is technically a josei, but oh no, it's a
I
shoujo.
just checked it. It's
JK.
a shoujo.
JK.
Yeah, I thought it was a josei too, but
JK.
it's not.
JK.
Everything that I think is a josei is actually a shoujo.
It's kind of on the cusp. Like it's one of those shoujos that you're like, ooh, this could be an older demographic. So yeah.
I mean, they definitely. I feel like having like a woman director is a huge plus for doing something like this. So shouts to them for doing something like that. So
yeah,
I think
and the scriptwriter too.
I feel like this movie's just been parts. Like I think the movie format is fine if this was not just one movie. If this was,
you mean like a 40 episode
shit,
show?
They did it with Mappa did it with Attack on Titan. They made 7 movies. Why not make this 7 movies? Like it's not like Mappa's out of their realm of stretching things out into movies.
What I do wonder is that like Rose of Versailles gets a ton of stage plays. Like
yeah.
Yep.
So like, and I haven't seen them, but if I went and watched a stage play of this, right, would it be similar to what we just had animated? Insofar as like the plot points that they picked, the scenes that they've done, you know, because like, you're gonna like go watch a 12-hour stage play? No, it's gonna be 2 hours or whatever. Like,
you're probably right. It would probably be something like this, except I think I would have more fun at a stage play.
There is that Oscar movie that's also like a movie length. So it's probably maybe similar, but maybe it just focuses on the Oscars. So that's why they were able to fit it within a movie.
Ah, see, that would be
I
sick.
found it on YouTube, so I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, we should probably just watch these things, but yeah, my thought is like maybe they're just adapting it, some of the things, like in the way these other shortened versions of it do. Um, and like we're just not like that was the intent, you know?
Hmm.
I don't know. Um, but we don't live where they throw Rose of Versailles reviews every other year or whatever, like it's just so who knows. But
Yep.
like I'm trying to think of like a real life. Well, Les Mis is this. Les Mis is a very truncated version of a book. Um and good because it's a long book. Uh, uh, but I'm sure we missed some stuff in the musical.
Yep.
And we just don't like that's the point we have, so who knows? They do skip 15 years or whatever. So
Did you have your final point, Miles?
um yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about maybe talking about some of the gender dynamics and stuff that are in here, but they do sort of just gloss over a lot of that aspect. Like I don't know if well, okay, it's not that they gloss over that aspect, it's they gloss over everything. But that is one of the things that is sort of glossed over. We see some of Lady Oscar's like thoughts and stuff on that, but it's also very like it's very so the scene where she shows up for the ball and she's like stunning and she's very feminine looking and she's like wearing the dress and everything. Like normally you have like a movie or any scene that does that sort of thing, right? Like she's all that, whatever. These are basically the same thing.
Might as well
You,
be.
you have like a preamble to that where you see the person like getting ready and there's like some but like we just see like Lady Oscar immediately like there's nothing leading into it. You know what I mean? There's no like struggle with her femininity or anything like that beforehand that we see.
Yep.
It just goes into her doing it. Um and I don't know, but I imagine that was a response to something like maybe people viewing her more masculine than she identified herself as and she really turns it on, maybe even overcompensates and goes more feminine than she's comfortable with in response to that. But there's obviously a lot of these dynamics here. I was reading an interesting thing about how this is like a precursor to like a lot of boys' love because
Oh.
both Andre and Lady Oscar are like very androgynous. And Lady Oscar is viewed as like masculine and like Andre is like also sort of masculine and all of that stuff. So it's sort of according to the one thing I read. I haven't done any like actual research or anything. I don't know. I haven't. This is just like you Google this and it's like the first thing that pops up. So, but like it was talking about how like that sort of leads into shoujo having a lot of like these two um like handsome but like feminine male characters as like potential love interests sort of things in the future, which would be interesting to explore. But again, it's not something that this movie honestly explores very much. So um, I don't know if we should talk about it or not. Probably not, honestly.
I mean, it's a good point because, like, I also was a bit confused about that scene when she got all dolled up because I'm like, that was probably not easy, and I wish we got some of her inner thought. Like, that would have been a great song, some inner thoughts,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a really good point. Good job, Miles.
Yeah, way to go, Miles. I'll just say one thing, I guess, that makes me, because like my favorite thing in the world is Berserk, and Griffith is literally based off Lady Oscar, and sort
Oh.
of like the feature, some of the things that like she has issues with, Casca also has issues with in Berserk. So it's kind of interesting to see how that Lady Oscar is actually portrayed in like two characters in Berserk. So I actually like, it makes me appreciate Oscar even more for how good of a character she is, and makes it's. I mean, because of her, the major reason why I fell in love with that series to begin with. So shout out to Oscar for inspiring Berserk.
Shout out to Lady Oscar for inspiring a character that I don't think is pure fucking evil. Like, um, and this is a point that Pete and I disagree on Griffith as a.
Well, you haven't gotten. There's still so much you have to explore.
There's not a thing he can do. He's irredeemable in my eyes.
Evil.
I don't care what he does.
He's a terrible person.
Yeah, look, man, I've just watched too many videos talking about how he's not, and it's just like, nah, he is.
No, he 100% is. There's a twist later where it gets a little. You could have a conversation, but he is pure evil.
I'm never gonna have the conversation.
You are, and you're gonna have it with me.
He could hand me a check for $1 million, and I would take it for him and spit in his fucking face.
I got my checkbook right here, baby.
If you give me that check because Griffith isn't a real person, I'll talk about it great.
I'm Griffith's vessel, essentially.
But is Utena Tenjo, who is very heavily inspired by Lady Oscar, from Revolutionary Girl Utena,
Makes
who
sense.
I adore. Yeah, the whole thing's pretty similar, honestly.
Very.
I don't know how far you.
I'm 4 episodes into Utena.
Okay.
Great show, by the way. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I think it only gets better.
It's better than Durarara, that's for damn sure.
Wow, what a bar.
People really like Durarara.
I get why people really like Durarara.
Me
too. I think if I had watched it back in 2011 or whatever, I'd like it more.
Yep, 100%.
I think I just missed the boat on that. Have you watched Durarara?
Have you watched High School Musical 2?
No.
Oh my god.
I watched one.
Okay.
Yeah, bop bop to the top.
Oh my god, that's a cut to pick from that one. It's not we're all in this together. It's not get your head in the game. It's bop bop to the top. And that's
a poll.
I appreciate that.
All right. We're about an hour, so how about we get to our final thoughts and ratings?
I did have a question though.
Oh no, you go.
What if you had an anime become a musical? Which anime would you want to become a musical?
Oh. I'm trying to think. Because I like the idea of having something like super, super dramatic be a musical instead, and it kind of shifts the tone a little bit. I'm trying to think of a show that Okay.
I'm trying to... So my favorite musical of all time is...
High School Musical 2.
This is... Sadly, no. This is a terrible answer for if someone's like, what's your favorite musical, right? This is maybe the worst possible answer to give, but it's Heathers the Musical. And
I don't even know what that is.
It is amazing. Also, it's based on, have you ever seen the movie Heathers, Pete?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so Heathers is like a 1980s movie. Imagine if Lindsay Lohan and the guy from Mean Girls murdered people.
Yeah.
Yo?
And that's Heather. It's fucking amazing.
It's Winona Ryder and Christian Slater?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yo,
please watch the movie Heathers and then listen to the soundtrack of Heathers the Musical.
It has a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's a fucking amazing movie.
Okay, okay, I'll add this to the list.
Okay. It's sort of like a little lot. Anyways, but I'm just trying to think of an anime that has like similar energy to Heathers, and like it doesn't exist as far as I know. Because do you have an answer?
In my head, I thought Delicious in Dungeon would have would be like a funny musical, and I would love that because we'll get like a Senshi song. I think it'd be so fun.
Sort of like a Spam-A-Lot type of
vibe
or something like that. Okay. Yeah. I gotta look at anime I like.
Yeah, I after going through my list, I have 2 that I think could work because of how the episodes are brought out. I think Violet Evergarden could work. Each sort of like conclusion to a story could be a song. Also, Ranking of Kings, I think, could be a musical. It's kind of fun, and you could do some stuff with it.
It'd be campy, for sure. Yeah.
Oh God.
Imagine like Apothecary Diary.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, there's probably a way to do that. You could do anything, right? Because like Heather's the musical exists, and like Mean Girls the musical exists, and like people just take movies and make them musicals now. That's like what you do if you're.
Evangelion can be a musical.
That'd be great.
That almost certainly exists somewhere in Japan.
Probably.
That has to be a real thing. Like Sailor Moon the musical exists, right? Like,
I think so.
um,
That's a good question.
It's like-
Let us know in the comments
Yeah,
what
in the
you would
comments.
pick.
and while other people are giving their final thoughts, will come up with an answer to this because I want to think of something, but
Okay,
it needs.
How about I do my final thought, and then you can give your answer, and then into your final thought.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so final thoughts. I had real issues with the pacing in the story. I found me trying to connect to characters and have fun with them was nearly impossible outside of Oscar. I felt like the relationships were kind of not there. It felt really rushed when they're trying to establish, especially romantic. It felt really fast. I get like some of the things with like Marie and Hans, and like they make eye contact and love in first sight. Like I can get that. Like that's not the issue. It's more like, you know, like Oscar and Andre. I felt like how they became a couple came. I guess there's context clues, but to me it felt rushed. And sort of the other just like interpersonal relationships outside of romance felt really like not there. I thought the music was okay. I thought the animation was okay. I thought the cast was bad outside of Oscar. But I don't think that's the story's fault. I just think of how the movie structured itself just hindered what I could have gotten from this. Love the aesthetic. Really, really pretty just in general. But I'll be honest with you, I thought this movie was bad. It didn't feel like a cinematic experience, especially with some of the other movies that we've gotten in the past couple of years, or even something like Look Back, which is an hour long, had incredible moments. It was so quick, and like that movie was a 10 out of 10. And even something like Haikyuu, where when you see it in theaters, it's another level than what you see on TV. And so when I get a cinematic movie like this, I'm expecting a little bit higher budget, a little bit higher production value, and stuff like that. And when I don't get it, it feels like an OVA more than a movie. And I think that's kind of where I fall off of it. Where did I enjoy this movie? Yes, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but I think it was more me coming into this. I had such high expectations. Like this is a legendary story. Even someone like me who has consumed zero of it, I know Lady Oscar is such a prominent character in anime and manga, where like through osmosis I've gotten some things. So like that's how prevalent this movie is, how big of a deal it is. And so when I was expecting the world and I got, I got breadcrumbs, I was kind of really disappointed. And I think that ties into my score. I'm giving it a 5. Like I was pretty glad the movie was over. And also, one last thing that I forgot, because of like how much of a character Oscar is that I loved, and how much I wish that the relationships impacted. When she died, I didn't feel anything. Like, and it's just one of those things where it's like I don't like if we had more time with the characters, I would have been bawling. But like Andre getting got, I'm just like I don't care. Like whatever. Like why should I care? Because I don't think like the movie gave me enough time. Oscar, I did care, but I feel like if I had more time with her, I would have cried my eyes out. That's how much I love the character. So I'm gonna give it a 5. I thought it was just okay. More than anything, it's an advertisement to go make me read the manga or watch the original anime. Yeah, I would say I'm more disappointed than I am thinking that the movie itself is bad. If I saw it with like no expectations, it'd probably be like a 6 or a 7. But man, I don't know. This is like if Vagabond got a anime and it's just like it was done by studio. What's a bad studio? Engi before it did Metalist or something like that. Mappa is Studio Mappa did Vagabond, and it was just like you have like this classic staple, and like when you are what Rose of Versailles is, I'm expecting nothing but the best, and I didn't get that. And so whatever reason that is for whatever outside factors that may have gone into this, it just didn't hit for me. So 5 out of 10. Miles, you're up.
Okay, so do we want my final thoughts and then what I would do a musical, or do we want to flip flop that? How are we doing this?
Hey, just like in the movie, you're your own person. You make your own decision. So
Okay, I want to be myself. I have two. I want to be myself. And I thought I was like lying when I said those were the lyrics. So then I went to the song in the movie, and those are the lyrics. I have two answers. One, I have put way too much thought into in this period of time. But the first one is The Night Short Walk On Girl.
Oh,
I actually think
love
that would
that.
work amazing as a musical, and there
100%.
are already like vaguely musical parts in it, like with performance and stuff.
Yep.
But I think like all the different scenes you can do stuff. The answer that I'm going to explain for maybe too much airtime is the quintessential quintuplets.
Okay, that's a whole other episode.
Okay, because you could fucking do this so good, right? Okay, so you have your main character, your main guy, then you have his 5 possible love interests, and they can all have a theme and a leitmotif about them, right? And so in different scenes and stuff, you can have them overlap and stuff. So like there's this thing in Hamilton where like when Hamilton and Eliza are like singing together, depending on like how well their relationship is going, their ability to sing each other's leitmotifs is better or worse. Yeah, just like Anna from Frozen. And so you can like make his like little theme or whatever harmonize better with the girl who like wins eventually, and you can have that increase over time as they like have scenes together or whatever to become more harmonious while the other ones don't. You can also with scenes like where Ichika is like impersonating
She's
Miku,
a snake.
right?
She'll dress up as a snake.
Yeah, so, right. So, but like you can have her sing like a Miku theme line stuff, but like off in like different ways and everything. There's a lot you could do here with the fact that these characters are identical, but if you give them like differing musical themes and everything, it could slap. I know that sounds like a stupid answer, but make it happen.
Make it work.
As for what I thought about this movie, Pete, everything you said was correct. This movie is
clip
not
that
good.
You heard that? Clip it.
However, I'm giving this an 8 because I liked it. I just had a good time. Yeah. It's not a good movie, but I just bought every fucking volume of this manga and they're showing up. And you said that you weren't. I almost teared up during Oscar's scene, which is when she died. Like, and that's a lot for me to almost tear up because I've only cried during one anime. Shout out to Yuri on Ice. So like the fact that I was thinking about it was that, and I thought that the ending of this was actually pretty strong, because it really sort of like focuses in on Oscar and her desire to be part of the revolution and stuff. And like I want to explore this more. I had fun pausing it and like Googling different character dynamics and stuff, which is again not optimal, but I don't care. So I gave this an 8. It is not an 8. I'm not recommending this to anyone. This is just a Miles score. Because I had a good time, but it's not a good movie. Don't.
Yeah. That's exact how you just summed that up is literally how I summed up High School of the Dead. Where I'm like, it's not good, but I had fun. Like,
yeah, that's
and enjoyment is the number one thing, baby.
And this is like High School of the Dead, but this definitely likes women, and High School of the Dead doesn't.
True. Facts.
But there were no zombies in this, which is a step down. I don't know. That's
loses 2 points.
Anyways, I gave this an 8 because I've had that stupid theme stuck in my head all day. And there's a lot of the like I don't remember the bad scenes, but like a lot of the striking visuals are stuck in my head. Oscar like coming into like view and like saying fire and like starting off like the siege of Bastille and stuff I thought was really good. The Material Girl scene with the song that isn't Material Girl has been like in my head or whatever. I don't know. I thought there was like enough. It's like a bubble gum pop song or something. It's stuck on my head. It's good, and I like it. You know, I'm not afraid to admit I like Justin Bieber, and this is the Justin Bieber of anime movies. I don't know. Cosette, what are your final thoughts?
Well, you know what? I think the movie did what it was supposed to. It makes people want to go explore what Rose of Versailles is. So I definitely want to check out the manga. I probably won't buy it immediately like Miles because I am on a budget, but I will
I have
definitely.
Amazon gift cards. It does damper it a
Oh,
little bit.
well then, share the love.
Yeah, I paid like $50 for all of the volumes. It's not that bad. It's
Nice. Well then, lucky you. But anyways, I think it did what it was supposed to. I think it was a great. It wasn't a great introduction, but it was enough of an introduction to me to be like, oh, so I know that this story is probably really good. So this will make me want to either like watch the anime or get the manga, even check out the live action. Like if this was a really bad anime, I would not do any of that. So I think that there's some benefit there. So I gave it a 6 in my head. On Letterboxd, I gave it
correct.
on Letterboxd, I gave it a 2, but I think I might give it a 6 because I still enjoyed it enough to continue it. The visuals were nice. Lady Oscar was awesome. The music was whatever, but like I still liked it enough to like finish it. And I think it just felt like it was like one of those compilation movies we get after an anime's been
100%.
released and get a short summary. So if Mappa at the back of their head was like, "Oh, let's just flesh this all out," Mappa, I will forgive you if you do that. I would love that. So, and like, give me more anime musicals. Like, if this is gonna make it happen, make it happen. I would love to see more musicals. Like, Belle's one of my favorite movies of all time. So, like, give me more of that. So, it's a 6. And in terms of like recommending it, I feel like I would recommend it to people who love like characters like Lady Oscar, and then I'll just give them like a side little disclaimer, being like, it's not the greatest, but it's a nice intro to like who Lady Oscar is. And you can just see the awesomeness of her and just ignore the music parts. Because I feel like there's people who would, take 2 hours to watch it maybe, as long as they know that not all of it's great. You can fast forward the music if you want. So yeah, it's a 6. I still enjoyed it. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, everyone out there, let us know what you think, whether it's in our comments or our Discord. Links to that in our description below. But that wraps up our Rose of Versailles. Thank you, Miles. Thank you, Cosette, for joining me. Appreciate it. You guys are the best. Love you. And if you have made it this far and you want me to love you, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. Next week for Watch Club, we are doing Rosen Maiden. And then after that, I have a special episode I think I'm going to do. So look forward to that. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.